Hey guys, I'm Eman, and today we're talking about the equipment you need to start out as a YouTuber. Firstly, I want to give a shout out to little man Nate. You're awesome. Thanks for watching. Love you, bro. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do hit that subscribe button because we're in the middle of a series and you want to catch every video. If you didn't see my last video, hit pause and go watch my how to start a YouTube channel video, just to make sure this is what you want to do. So in our last video, we spoke about the fact that we were pretty sure that this is what we want to do. We have ideas, we've thought about our YouTube name, our channel theme and all that, and we created our Gmail and our YouTube account. We spoke about two different styles of YouTubers. We spoke about bloggers and we spoke about people who sit down and create content like this. It's been about 2 weeks, so by now you should know which one you want to do. But if you don't, it's fine. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to try to figure out exactly what equipment we would need right now versus what we won't need. All right, let's talk about your camera. That is the most important thing that you will need to start this YouTube journey. Now, don't go and buy a new camera if you're not sure that this is really what you want to do. Now, because you're here, you're pretty sure that this is what you want to do. But if you're not 90 to 100% sure that this is what you want to do, or content creation is what you want to do, don't go and buy a new camera. Definitely do your research based on your budget for your camera, but I'm going to give you some things to think about. Now, the difference between vlogging and sit-down videos is that usually with vlogs, you're holding the camera the whole time, or the majority of the time. So you don't want to buy a camera that is extremely heavy and bulky. For example, this is a DSLR. And I know this looks so professional and yada, yada, yada. I have this camera and I don't even use this. Obviously, I don't use this. This lens is definitely not for vlogging. So I would not recommend a camera like this for vlogging, because by the time you're holding this for, let's say you're vlogging for a whole day, and by the time the end of the day comes, you're going to be drooping and drooping and drooping, and then everyone's going to be looking up your nose. We don't want to see that. What I would recommend is, if you want to get or use this kind of camera, definitely use it for sit-down videos like this, where you can just put it on a tripod. You don't necessarily have to hold it, and you're good. The other good thing about these kinds of cameras is that you can use them for your video recording, and the quality is going to be amazing. And you can also use them for your thumbnails for great quality pictures. What I prefer to use when I'm doing my vlogs is my iPhone XS Max. Now, the thing about my iPhone is that it's just readily available. The only down part for me is that I always run out of storage. So watch out for that. Now, the weight difference between my iPhone and a camera like this is that my iPhone is about 7.3 ounces, and then the camera is about a pound. It's starting around a pound depending on what lens you have on it. A camera like this feels like 2 or 3 pounds right now with this lens on it. And 2 pounds is light. Like, I could hold it like this for a while, but after a while it's gonna start drooping. So again, don't go out and buy a new fancy camera unless you're sure it's what you want to do. Now, before you go out and buy that camera, use your phone. iPhone quality these days are immaculate. A lot of the iPhones these days have quality that are up to par with people who have professional cameras. However, one tip is that you don't use your front camera. Use your back camera. Right now, I'm using my back camera, and I have a mirror on the other side so I can see myself to make sure I'm in frame. It was slightly annoying pulling out the mirror every time I had to record, but I've gotten used to it, and it works. So if you are going to go ahead and select a camera, another thing to think about other than the weight is a flip screen. You want to see yourself, whether you are vlogging or you are doing sit-down talking head videos. You want to be able to see yourself so that eventually you can put the mirror back to where you got it from and just leave it there. It's good to see yourself so you can know what you look like if there's something on your face. There's been so many times where I've been talking and did a whole video, and then I went back to the video and realized that either it was out of focus or there was something on my cheek or something in my hair. So these days I gotta check the mirror just to make sure, and then it's not always the case that I see everything. So make sure you have a flip screen so you can see yourself. Definitely prioritize that. But make sure when you do have your flip screen, you're not always looking at your flip screen. Right now I'm looking at where the flip screen would be, and we don't feel like a personal connection because we're not looking at each other. But if I look here at the camera lens, then we feel more of a personal connection, like I'm talking directly at you. Well, I am talking directly at you. So yeah, make sure you're not looking off to the side at your flip screen, but you're looking at the camera. It's just there to make sure you're in the frame, but talk to the camera. Your camera quality, image quality, make sure you have, we're going to start our base at 720p quality. If you don't know what that means, just make sure the box or something just says 720p. That should be your base. We're not trying to go to 540. We don't want to go to 3, no, 2, no, definitely not 144. So our base is going to be 720p, but if you can get a 1080p or even a 4K, I mean 8K, all that's a bit much. There are TVs that can go up to 8K and 4K plus, and it looks immaculate. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. It looks great. There's no point in investing so much money in an 8K camera when your content isn't up to par with the quality. So you can have great quality, but your content sucks. So let's start average around 1080p, and then also work on our content to make sure our content is up to par with our quality, and we come together and take everything to a higher level. Another important piece of equipment would be your mic. I have tried a lot of mics over the course of my YouTube journey so far, and I like this mic right here. I've tried professional lavaliers, I've tried boom mics, I've tried plug-in boom mics, I've tried the quality on my phone, I've tried my camera quality, and this one has been the best so far in terms of ease of access, feasibility, like a plug and go, audio quality, all around. For me, this has been the best. There are some other great options for using your camera, but for my iPhone, with a plug and play, well, a plug and go, and it just sounds good, it's this mic. Now make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to make a whole other video on the different types of cameras you should use and the different types of mics that you have available and what each mic is for. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of advice in this video, even though I'm going to go more in depth in my next video. But for vlogs, you definitely want a lav that can be as close to your mouth as possible. For sit-down talking head videos, you can definitely use a lav if you want to. I feel most comfortable with a lav, but you can also use a boom mic. You can use a podcast mic that sits on the table. My videos, I don't have a table in front of me. My table's behind me. So having a mic that sits on a table won't really help me. But again, we're going to go a lot more in depth in my YouTube mic video. But the biggest piece of advice right now is to get a mic. With that being said, make sure your mic is able to be plugged into your camera. And when you get your camera, make sure your camera has an audio input or a mic input. Because if it doesn't, then you're going to have to record on a different device, and then you're going to have to line up audio. It's doable. I've done it, but it's more work than you need it to be. Now with your camera, when you do record, you want to be able to know that your recording is good, or that you even recorded anything. Your mic was on or whatever. I've recorded too many times where my mic was either off or there was just something wrong with the mic. It was broken. Something happened and I had to go back and record the whole video again. So make sure that you have the ability to record in clips, and you can go back to those clips and say, okay, the audio is recording, the audio works, everything is good, so let me continue. Some cameras have the option of slow-mo or time lapse. So slow-mo is when you slow down the video from real time, and then you could come back into real time. And then time lapse would be if you're doing something like room cleaning video and you want to speed it up and it goes really fast, and that was probably a terrible time lapse imitation. But if you're interested in doing those kind of things, just think about your content. And the slow-mo effect is definitely good for like cinematic types of videos. So if you're going to do cinematic kind of vlogs or anything like that, definitely think about having slow-mo as an option. If you're going to do room cleaning videos and vlogs and things like that, definitely think about time-lapse as an option. Autofocus. The iPhone's ability with autofocus is pretty good. It's actually really good. I would say it's one of the best because from my experience, all of my other cameras don't have autofocus. But these newer cameras that they have, and specifically vlogging cameras, have really good autofocus. Autofocus is definitely something that you want to use because you don't want to always have to focus your lens while you're recording, or if you're doing a sit down talking head video and your camera's all the way back there and you go like this, you could be out of focus depending on how your aperture is set up. Depending on your focal strength, you can go forward and you're going to be completely out of focus. So definitely prioritize a camera that has autofocus capability. Image stabilization. Again, if you're just sitting down talking to the camera, unless you live in a place that has like a whole lot of earthquakes or something, you don't necessarily need image stabilization. But if you are doing vlogs and you like to record the outdoors and people walking and people dancing and people doing all these other things, and you have to walk with the camera, right? Image stabilization is going to be helpful because it stabilizes your recording. It makes it look a lot smoother than it really was recorded as. External screens. If you want to have a bigger screen than the flip screen comes out, or if you already have a camera, but you don't have a flip screen, make sure your camera has the ability to put in, and it's usually an HDMI mini that goes into your camera and it goes out to HDMI, and you're able to add an external screen that you can watch yourself on that bigger screen. Usually on the side of your camera is going to be a couple of input options. And at the top here, the first one would be the mic, and then the third one down would be the HDMI mini. Again, if you're vlogging and an external screen isn't the best idea because it adds more weight to your camera. And a lot of times those little vlogging cameras don't have HDMI out. It's usually the DSLRs or the, well, now mirrorless cameras that have HDMI out. Imagine this heavy camera with a whole other screen on top of it. We're looking at like 3 to 5 pounds at that point. Tripods. Now, if you're out vlogging, one of the most common tripods are the handheld tripods. You can have the tripod with the camera on top of it, where you can also spread the legs and then put it on a table in case you want to eat, or in case you just want to talk to the camera, or in case you want to do a POV angle, or you just want to show your viewers what you're looking at. And then you have full-length tripods, which you guys are actually sitting on right now. Those tripods are usually, they go up to, I would say, 3 to 5 feet. And then they have an extension where the neck can go up a little bit more. And then those are usually used, you can use them for your vlogs. They're a little bit more bulky to put on a table. Let's say you're at Starbucks or McDonald's or something. To put that on a table is like, it's huge. But if you're going to put it on the floor and just raise it up and give like a side angle or anything like that, it does work well. These tripods have the ability to lock their vertical and horizontal movement. Now, if you can't afford a tripod, that's okay. One thing that I have used a lot in the past, I just grab some bins, put some books on top, and just record with my phone leaning against the books. Again, don't rush and go and buy all these things if you're not 100% sure or 90% sure that this is what you want to do, because we want to make an investment into something that we know that we will use. Now, if this already sounds like a lot, there are content creation bundles that like Walmart and Target sells, and they have the tripod, they have the camera, they have the mic, they have filters, they have all this stuff. Do your research on everything that's in the bundle. Just whip out your phone real quick and be like, okay, does this camera have 720 quality? Read the box just to make sure everything that you need is in the box. Let's say you already bought a camera. Let's talk about the things that you need that will help you along this YouTube process. You will definitely need an SD card reader. From wherever the camera SD card is, you're going to need to send your footage to your phone or to your computer. So depending on where you're going to edit your videos, get an SD card adapter for your phone or get an SD card reader for your computer or laptop. Make sure that whatever camera you have, whatever camera you decide to use, it has good battery life. And if it doesn't have good battery life, make sure you get an extra like 3 batteries or 4 batteries in total, depending on how much vlogging you'll be doing or how much recording you'll be doing. If you're using a phone, look up the phone, look up the battery lifespan and how long it's going to last on one charge, how long the battery itself in the phone is going to last when it starts depreciating. And then for your cameras, look up how long the camera battery lasts. Then depending on how long you plan to record on average, get that many batteries. So I have 2 battery chargers for each of my cameras, and 4 or 5 actual batteries. And those, like, I'm set for the day. The reason for this is because you don't ever want to get into the rhythm of shooting a video or talking, and then you got to stop to charge your batteries. It is so annoying, and it honestly gets you out of the rhythm, and it ruins your whole vibe. It ruins your mood. Just get the multiple batteries, and you'll be able to just keep pushing. All right, let's talk about lighting. One thing that I always hear is that natural light is the best option. I completely disagree. I don't think natural light is the best option, but it is a great option. Again, if you don't have any type of lighting, or you don't have the funds to invest in lighting because you don't know that this is what you want to invest in right now, use the natural lighting. Use the window, go outside and record, do what you have to do. But if you know that this is what you want to do, invest in your ring light, invest in your external light, invest in your, not strobes, invest in your studio lighting, because that, in addition to your natural light, or that instead of your natural light, will take your videos to a higher quality or another level. So this is where I'm going to insert some of my photography and videography experience. I've done studio shoots where I've had natural light, and then I've used those same studio shoots and added strobes or studio lights, and the quality was so much better. A lot of times when you have the ability to control your light, or you're able to manipulate your lighting, you can set it to exactly how you want it to be. Let's say you want to do cinematic shots and you want the lighting from one specific angle. You can't do that with the sun because you can't move the sun. You can move your lighting, or you can change your angle in relation to how you want to record. But if you have a whole backdrop, or if you have a whole set scene, then you don't want to turn your whole background, move your whole table, just because the light is coming from one specific angle. Just get another light and just move the light. It's that easy. In addition to that, if you are in a space of the house, and hypothetically speaking, if the wall of the house just drops, you no longer have that light source. You can't do your recording in this room anymore. But you can take your light, take your camera, and move it to a different room and just record. You don't have to bank on that specific spot in the house. Now, my biggest reason that you want to have an external light is because, for me, I like to stay on trending topics. So if something was to happen in the middle of the night, for example, the Will Smith versus Chris Rock video from like 2 or 3 years ago, I could not have done that if I didn't have an external light source. And luckily I was in the car, which had an external light source. But if I'm banking on natural light, I would have to wait until the morning to record that video. And by that time, everyone would have already done a video reviewing it. I most likely would not have gotten the amount of views that I got on that video. So if you have an external light source, you can just turn on the light, record your video in that very moment, and just push it to your audience. Your laptop or computer. One thing that you want to think about is where you want to edit. I find it easy to edit right on my phone because CapCut is just so easy. But if you prefer to have a bigger screen, or if you prefer to use a mouse and your keyboard, then definitely think about getting a laptop. Now, this here is my laptop. It's actually a gaming laptop. The reason I had to get a gaming laptop, even though I don't play games on it, is because the processor and the graphics card and all that, it's pretty up to par with what I need. Oh, as a heads up, let me tell you this now. For DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro, those were not working on my MacBook. So that's another reason I got this computer. It was very glitchy on my MacBook. That's DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro. Be careful with that. But again, just do a little bit of research. I'll make another video on what I suggest, but definitely do your own research to make sure it's what you want and what you need for the level of work that you're doing. Now, some extra equipment that you're going to want to think about are your editing platforms. So you have iMovie, which is free for Apple users. You have Capcut, which has a free version. You have a whole lot of transitions and video effects and all that. That's why I really like using Capcut. This is not a promo. This is not sponsored by Capcut, but I love using Capcut. You have Adobe Premiere, which is a subscription-based platform. That's around $23 a month right now. You have Final Cut, which is also, well, it's not subscription-based. It's a one-time payment. Right now, it's $300 for full access. So thinking about the math, if you paid for Premiere for 1 year and 1 month consecutively, you would have already paid off your Final Cut purchase. So see and think about if this is something you want to continually do. and decide whether or not Premiere is the way you want to go for temporary editing, or if you want to invest all the way into Final Cut and just keep it. Because at this point, I've paid for Premiere for like 4 or 5 years. But I also use the photo editing side and the Photoshop and the Lightroom, so it works out for me. I do also know DaVinci Resolve has a free version and a paid version, but my favorite right now is Capcut because it's on my phone. I could just record and then go straight to editing. Music. If you don't want to use the music that YouTube gives you, because honestly, it's decent music. It's not the best, but it's pretty decent. But if you don't want to use that, Epidemic Sound. You don't have to worry about copyright. It has so many song options. It has so many sound effects. You're going to get your publishing rights to any location. And it has, I think, a 1-week trial to see if you like it. The subscription right now, in this moment, is $18 a month. So go cop that. Get your 1-week trial or get your month and a week for $18 and just see if you like it. Check it out. Your thumbnails. I use a couple different things. My favorite to use are PixArt or Canva. Canva I also use for my YouTube banner. It has a wide array of graphics and pictures that you can use. The paid version of Canva, you can also remove backgrounds. One thing that I like that iPhones can do now is that you can hold down like your silhouette and it cuts it out for you. So that's kind of like a background remover. So that's really helpful for those of you who like your body to pop in your thumbnail, which I like to do. Yeah, definitely use Canva or PixArt. Those are really, really good. All right, y'all. So I know I gave you a whole lot of information. Make sure you go back and watch this video again. Make sure you watch it a 3rd time if you need to, so you can be ready for your next step in this process. It's not going to be a quick process, but it's definitely going to be worth it if you stay consistent. Consistency is key. Remain consistent. I've been on my journey and I've become consistent again in my YouTube recording and posting. So you and I, we're on this grind together. We're in this boat together. We're on this journey together. So let's be consistent together. If you're new here and you just joined us, but you don't know if being a YouTuber is what you really want to do, that's okay. Just check out this video and it'll definitely help you out with your decision. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Always remember there's greatness in you. So go out there and be great. Peace.